our show. Michele has worked at Erie County Department of Social Services since July of 1996. Most of this time was spent working in child welfare, and she was promoted to the Director of Adult Protective Services in January 2018, and she is fabulous and going to share all the information with us today. That's yours, Michele. You've been on camera this whole time. Take it away.
Good morning, everybody. As one senior to other seniors, welcome. I'm just going to go over briefly what Adult Protection Services does, what we don't do, and then really open it up for questions. One of the unfortunate things is that we're called Adult Protective Services, and people confuse us with what Child Protection does. We do not do what Child Protection does. We share some of the basic values in that people should have the right to self-determination. People do best in their own community, and people deserve to be safe. So that's where it really ends with what Child Protection and Adult Protection has in common. We derive our authority from New York State law. So essentially, the law states that if someone can't protect themselves, the state has an obligation to step in. But again, self-determination, least restrictive. Our goal is really to go out if there is a concern about anyone over the age of 18 until infinity, assess that person's ability to live safely in the community, try to shore them up if they need it, and hopefully walk away knowing that that person is safe and can continue their lives the way they want to. When a case comes into us, it's called a referral, and anyone can make a referral. We're open from 9 to 5. Our phone number, and we can pass this on to you, is 716-858-6877. And you can call to ask questions. Sometimes we just refer people if they need services. We work very closely with senior services because they do an amazing job for seniors in our area. Sometimes we will get a case and it will be just a question or somebody just saying, hey, I need some legal advice, and we have partners in the community that we refer to. But for us to open a referral, we need 3 things to meet the criteria. One is the person has to have a physical or mental impairment, and that can be someone could have mobility issues. They may be they can't walk, or they could have a visual issue. They could have a mental health concern that impacts their day-to-day living. The second is that they're at risk, and it could be either risk of self-neglect, it could be neglect or abuse by someone else. So some of those other issues could be someone could be financially exploiting them. We see that an awful lot in adult protection. It could be that there's a caretaker who's just overwhelmed with someone's care. They may have thought that they could handle it as well as working and taking care of their family, and they just need some help, so they may not be meeting that person's needs. It could be somebody that is self-neglecting. So sometimes people, I think everyone has heard of hoarding. It's an environmental issue. And where we get involved is when the environmental issue impacts the ability of the person to either get out of the house or someone to get into the house. For example, if somebody falls and they can't get up and the firefighters cannot get in to assist them, that's an issue that we're going to get involved with. There's also physical abuse, there's sexual abuse, financial exploitation, I said, neglect. Those are the big ones that we see. Sometimes when it's self-neglect, sometimes it's somebody that lacks the ability to meet their bill paying. So they have budgeting issues. The last criteria is that there's no one else willing and able to assist. So those are the 3 criteria. Someone has to have a mental or physical impairment. It has to be tied to the fact that they're either suffering from self-neglect or neglect or abuse by another person, and there has to be no one else willing and able to assist. So I can give 2 examples of the same thing. If someone has diabetes and maybe they're not taking care of themselves and they are sending all their money to someone in another country and they're not meeting their bills, but they have someone in the house that's willing to help them, we will go out and say all their needs are being met. Self-neglect, there's really not a self-neglect issue. They are well aware of what they need to do for their diabetes, and there's someone willing and able to assist. There's really no place for adult protection in that person's life, except for education and referral if that person is interested in other services. On the other hand, if someone, and I use this one all the time, if someone has mobility issues where they can't get up and down the stairs, and they're in a second floor bedroom, and the exit is downstairs, if there is a fire and they live alone and no one else is there, we will get involved with that because that's unsafe. So it could be as easy as move the bed downstairs. That's probably the better one. Sometimes people think, well, I have to move. No, let's just move the bed downstairs. Get a bracelet, so in case you need something, you can hit the bracelet if there's 911. And maybe, and people have a problem, I think we're all a little prideful and independent. It's okay to ask for help. If it means you're going to be safe in the community, reach out and ask for help to have someone check in with you. So those are the kind of things that we do. One of the big things, I think we have about 800 cases that we are representative payee. And this is from Social Security. Social Security will make the determination that someone is not managing their money in accordance to meeting their basic needs. So somebody could be getting Social Security, which isn't much, and they may not be paying their bills. Someone may be exploiting them. So they're at risk in the community because they don't have someplace to live. They're running out of food on a regular basis. So we can become their payee if there's no one else willing and able to do so in the community. We will help them schedule a budget, figure out what needs to be paid, and we'll help them apply for any entitlements that they might meet the eligibility for. For example, we just had a case where there was a woman whose husband had died. She was getting a very small amount of money, and she never budgeted her money. Her husband had already done that. So her income went down substantially. So the worker went out, helped her set up a budget. We became her payee, and she was welcoming of this. We applied for food stamps, HEAP, and I think there was one other thing that she was eligible for. Oh, Medicaid, long-term Medicaid, to help her remain in the community. Applied for that, we're paying her bills, we're seeing her quarterly, and she's doing very well. So those are the kind of things that we do. Unlike child protection, we cannot remove people from their homes. I know a lot of people think we do that. We do not have the ability to remove anyone from their home. Only the police or crisis services can do that. We do not place people. So adult protection will not come out and put you in a nursing home. We want just the opposite. We want people to remain in their community. And that's one thing that we do share with child welfare. Children and adults do best in their own community as long as they can remain there safely. It's where people flourish. And however people define their community, it could be their family, it could be their friends, it could be the folks that are in their building. And that's where people do the best. However, if someone, like we a few months ago, we were working with a gentleman for a long time, we're his representative payee, and he told the worker that living in his house was getting to be a little too much and he wanted to look into assisted living. So the worker helped him look for assisted living in his area. He wanted to stay in his town. He went on a waiting list, he went and interviewed, and he made the decision that he wanted to go into assisted living. I'm trying to think of what else. Another thing we do is we do not pay for agencies to work with people. What we depend upon are our community partners. So if, say somebody has a roommate who has lived there for 6 months, roommate's not paying their share of the rent, there may be some, there may be violence, there may be threats, and it's just not a good plan. What we will do when that person, as long as that person's not on a lease, we will refer them to the Center for Elder Law and Justice to assist with the eviction process, and hopefully that will address that issue. We work very closely with mental health providers in the area, substance abuse providers, because again, we're working with 18 and up. Oftentimes we work with a whole family. We'll go out, we'll assess. A call may come in concerned about one person, and we'll go out and we'll see there are a couple other people with some issues. We work with the family to try and keep them safely in the community. I'm trying to think of anything else we do. We are the rep payee of last resort. One of the other things we do, and we have less than 100 of these folks, we can become guardian of someone in the community. Typically, it's somebody that's in a nursing home or a facility, and the courts determine that the person lacks capacity and they're in need of guardian. For example, if someone has significant dementia and they cannot make informed decisions as to where they should live, who has access to their information, what kind of medical treatment that they get, we can become the person's guardian. We would prefer that a family member or a friend. I would not want a stranger making those decisions for us, but for people that lack the resources in the community, we do that as well. And I think, that's pretty much what we do in a nutshell. I don't know if there's something else that people have questions.
Okay. Feel free to type in any questions to the chat there, and I'm just going to put in that number. I thought I did, but I see it didn't stick. That's 858-6877, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's for adult protection. Is there anything else you want folks to know?
Just a couple different things about New York. We're the only state that does not have a mandated reporter law for adults. There is a mandated reporter law for children, but there's not one for adults. We also are not a 24-hour service. So I would urge anyone who thinks someone is at imminent risk, that there's a safety which is immediate, to contact the police to go out and see somebody if we're not available. Actually, if somebody's at risk imminently, you should contact the police. They're better prepared to get out there as fast as possible, and then, they can speed and clear traffic where we can't do that.
Okay, thank you. Maybe your phone number just one more time for the folks that calls in.
Sure. Our phone number is 716-858-6877.
Okay. Well, Michele, thank you so much for your time today.
Sure.
Thank you for all you do for residents of Erie County, and to everyone who's on, we appreciate your time. I will work on posting this recording, if all goes as planned, and please spread the information that you learned today so we can make sure everybody's aging happy, healthy, and with dignity.
Absolutely.
All right. Enjoy your day. Bye, everyone. Bye.